we win. That is our motto. Sometimes we win. Sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird. Don't give us just a guy. We try our best. And we're successful. Go watch our show. Big River sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Whoa! Welcome in to Betting Weekly live Friday the 29th of November. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, everyone. What an intro there. Steve Wyss here alongside Jack Wright for Betting Weekly live. Jack, how's tricks?
Mate, thanks for calming me down. I was a little bit fraught coming into the show, been a lot of last minute like prep and stuff like that, and you've chilled me out beautifully with that intro. Oh, absolutely delicious. Yeah. Yes, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And yeah, great to be here. I didn't need to check the calendar. We know it's Friday because we're on this show.
Yeah, I want to hype everyone up. Paul Laguna, welcoming. Great pick yesterday. Paul, Green Bay -3 was your lock yesterday. Won easily, didn't they? Disky, great to see you. Rick Haley. And his tip of the day is Mallorca 0-0 at halftime. It's won in the last 4 games. Villa fan says he's loving the heavy metal intro. Villa fan, what do you think about your team at the minute? Are Villa going to get back to winning ways this weekend? Ginepi, good to see you as well. As I need to mute my phone. Where are we going to start today? We've got
so
loads
Steve,
of matches.
Paul Laguna going to be? Is he going to be standing in for us next Friday? Because we're going to be otherwise engaged, aren't we?
Well, I can reveal now that there will be a show next Friday. We don't stop. And Dan Roebuck is going to be doing the show. I'm not sure who with yet. I've forgotten who it's with this committee. Dan Roebuck is going to be doing the show before he heads out to our Christmas party. Right, we're going to start in the Bundesliga today. Germany, this is the earliest kickoff on. We've got 7 matches to discuss today. This is at 7:30 UK time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. St. Pauli against Holstein Kiel. Battle of 2 teams currently inside the bottom 3 of the Bundesliga. 2 promoted sides. They've not done very well. They've both struggled. Just 3 wins between them. St. Pauli can't score goals. Holstein Kiel can't stop conceding goals. This kind of, we're 11 games into the season now, Jack. St. Pauli -155, by the way. That was earlier. It's now -141 for St. Pauli. They've been a drifter. Over 2.5 goals is close to even money now, which is unusual for the Bundesliga. I looked at this and I'm thinking, is this one of those Steve Wyss theory games? We're 11 games into the season. Are these 2 teams desperate enough that we might just get a random over game? But then I look at St. Pauli whenever I've seen them, and it's like trying to get a goal out of them is like trying to get blood from a stone. So I don't know here, Jack. What are your thoughts on this game?
Mate, it's like trying to get a round of drinks out of Dan Roebuck at a Christmas party. That's how tight it is. It's incredible. It's incredible. Mate, you tell me, is this your Steve Wyss theory game? You are Steve Wyss. You can tell us. But like St. Pauli, for if they're looking for anything to try and give them some incentive to finally score a home goal, it's got to be the fact they're playing Holstein Kiel, who they certainly know where the back of the net was against them last season.
Holstein Kiel, I do believe, are the most northerly ever team that entered the Bundesliga. I think I read that up as a stat recently. They've been, Kiel have only got 5 points on the board. They've lost 8 games out of 11. That's why St. Pauli are minus money favourites, I suppose, at home. Last season, I think we had a couple of wild meetings between the teams. St. Pauli won 5-1 and 4-3. Yeah. I can't trust St. Pauli at minus money, though. Let alone minus 141.
No, exactly. How can you back a side that haven't even scored a goal at home yet? Look, I'm one that, you follow stats, you follow trends, but you also go into the basis that at some point in time, genuine averages will finally find their way to even out a little bit. And the fact they haven't scored a goal yet, they're obviously going to score a goal at some point in time. So, I think
I actually hadn't noticed that. I actually didn't know. This is crazy. Like Giuseppe just said that. You just said that. They haven't scored at home yet.
No, unbelievable. As I said, like it obviously can't continue, but we've probably been saying that for the last 2 or 3 weeks. The fact that they're going to score soon, but this does look like a game where, as you said, they've got to have a good chance and a good swing at this one. But then Holstein Kiel will go there going, we've got to take these guys on. We've got to go and win this game. So I think it could well be one of your theory games.
I do have a bet for the game. And I'm going with both teams score yes. I'm going my both teams score yes at -121 because I want to cover. I do want to cover one of the draws. I want to cover that 1-1 draw because I think the tie's got legs +265. I think I know how these games go. The narrative going into the game, both teams desperately need the win, and no one gets it. Everyone gets the draw that no one wants, and I've seen these type of matches end a random 3-3 out of nowhere. You wouldn't see it coming, and you get at the end of it, and you think, "How's that happened?" So I think I am having a bet on the game. It is both teams score yes, and I might even nibble that tie at +265. But the thing is, it might be a good match to trade on potentially if betting running with Bet Rivers here. And because if there is a few goals, it might be seesaw, end to end sort of thing, and the odds might well change throughout it. That's how I see the game. I don't know if you've got a betting interest yourself.
Mate, I'd be going elsewhere personally, but I say if you're pushing me on it, I like I said, I think the averages will have to kind of come into line a little bit more eventually. So I would go with over 2.5 goals at -107, but that's something of a tentative play based on the fact that you expect something to change rather than sometimes you go with a trend, don't you? And sometimes you look to buck the trend. And I think I'd be looking to buck the trend in this game because it is pretty vitally important for both these sides. And as I say, if there is an early goal, it really opens it up and it could be chaos.
If St. Pauli can't score in this game, they never are going to score at home. If they don't score in this, that they're a disgrace actually. So they've got to go for this. Both teams score yes.
Said, they couldn't ask for a better game if they just look back at last season when they scored so many against them. So they've got to go into this one going, look, let's do what we did last season. Let's get it on and let's get some goals on the board.
We move to France for a 2:45 Eastern kickoff here. Reims against Lens. Will Still, the Lens manager, goes back to his former club, and they are the favourites at +135, over 2.5 goals at -106 now. Stade de Reims are +210 on the money line. The tie is as short as +225 now. And Lens are a team I really like watching them. I really like the tactical setup they've got. But they've got a big problem, Jack, that they just don't score enough goals compared to that. I'm telling you now, if they had 2 top quality attackers in their squad, a striker, and let's say, I don't know, maybe an elite inside forward or even an elite playmaker, this team would be top 4 or 5 material. No doubt about it. But they don't possess that player right now. That's my big problem with them. I quite like the tie here. You've got a bet for the game, and you're looking in the first half.
Mate, yeah, I was looking at the over 1 Asian total first half. Both these sides have got a fair record across the board as far as that's concerned across the season so far. So, it was a very good price actually. The money's come for it, so it has been hammered a little bit, to be fair. But I still stand by the bet. As I say, it was round about even money when +100 when I identified it, but it has changed a fair bit for now. But yeah, I just feel that there's good scope in that. There's a few goals in it, and they've also certainly been scoring goals in the first half. So that was going to be where my lean was on that one.
Yeah, the first half goals. And, to be fair, Reims have actually been involved. I thought they'd be quite a low-scoring team this year. Their manager came from Le Havre, and their matches, I think Le Havre had probably the most under 2.5, apart from, I think, Nice. Le Havre would have been right up there in terms of the unders last year. But he's come in, and he's actually played a decent sort of style here at Stade de Reims. They're actually overachieving their metrics this season. last season they were underachieving their metrics under Will Still, and now Will Still's moved to Lons and they're underachieving their metrics. They were anyway, by the way. So it's not just I'm not bashing Will Still. He's still.
I would be shocked if you were.
But I think there's something with. I think almost his systems are so good and almost too good that he needs maybe a bit of a better quality attackers to finish the chances in the way he wants to play. But first half, goal line there is the direction you're looking. I think the tie's got a chance here. I really do. Plus 225.
Well, mate, I bow to your superior knowledge on Ligue 1, but I was just looking at the numbers for it, and of the respective 12 home and away games these two have played so far in the league this season, there's been only one that's ended in a goalless draw, and that was Lens away at Monaco back in September. Every other first half has featured at least one goal, so that's what kind of led me down that path that that was a bit of a run, especially at the price as it was. So I'd be less keen now given the money, but that's where my expectation on how the game will pan out is going.
It'll be a good watch. It'll be a good it won't be boring. I think there'll be a few chances missed. There just always is in the Lens fixtures. But yeah, I think it'll be a good sort of style to watch. We're gonna move into the crunch game of the day now. We've got 3 fixtures actually to discuss in England today, including a cheeky FA Cup tie later on. But Brighton, Southampton, we do have Premier League soccer on your card today in the Premier League game in England. Brighton against Southampton, a match from the south coast of England. This is a 3 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Brighton minus 275 now on the money line. The ties at plus 420. Southampton are plus 700, and the goal line is surprised. The goal line looks quite high to me. At plus 108 for over 3.5 goals. Jack. Obviously, for those who watch the Premier League show already, they'll get the insights of yourself and Nigel Seeley and Dan Roebuck as well for this game. But I mean, I don't know if there's much more you want to add tonight. Some player prop bets, things like that you've had a good deep dive with.
Yeah, I know, Nigel. I think he's just put a comment on saying about Brighton being a trap tonight. You wouldn't want to be touching them at that price at all. He mentioned it on the show yesterday that they've struggled a couple of times this season against the lesser ranked sides. So they don't get any lesser ranked than Southampton at the moment. So we could see a continuation of a trend there. The pick I put up on the show yesterday, I can reveal it because it's been hammered. It was minus 117 yesterday. It was for Brighton to be leading at half time. It's now minus 136. So I would not be touching it at that price at all. It was minus 120 would have been as far as I'd have gone with it. So that's gone. But the stats, I reeled them off yesterday on the show. This obviously there for people who are still to watch it. They are quite strong to support that one. But so I've looked elsewhere as far as to give people on the live show some extra, a little bit of intel. Something I do like, I've been looking for it. And obviously I do pay quite a lot of attention to how sides set up, where their weak points are, and can that be matched up with a strength. And I mentioned it with Southampton last week. They do struggle down their left-hand side defensively. So a player that you knew quite well last season, and Ruter, who is kind of in that area for Brighton, he's not really set the world alight this season. So he's not a player that I kind of really wanted to put too much faith in, but could well be the game for him to have it off tonight. But I've gone on the other side with Pervis Estupinan, who is a left back, a defender, left-sided player that I kind of quite liked the look of last season. He got an injury which set him back a little bit. But where Southampton's struggle is one that Estupinan will be very much advanced. He's up against Tyler Diblin on that side, who's a very attack-minded midfielder, wide player. He's also up against Walker Peters over that side. Again, another attack-minded sort of wing-back, right-back. So he should get a bit of joy down there. He's also on a few of their set pieces as well. And Southampton are so weak defending set pieces, free kicks and corners into the box. So that would be an area you look to exploit. So I just looked at his odds with Bet Rivers in some of the prop markets. He's plus 380 for an assist. I know he was plus 400 yesterday. So a little bit of money in that respect. To score or assist, Estupinan is plus 245. I think he will be well involved. And he's also plus 120 for over 1.5 fouls. And I said he's up against Diblin, who's a real tricky ball carrying. He's been compared to Jack Grealish, isn't he? He's that kind of guy that does draw the fouls in. So that would be the area to go there. But a couple of central defenders that I like. I was really surprised to see Paul Van Hecker at plus 130 with Bet Rivers for a shot tonight, over 0.5 shots. He will be up for set piece. He's also a defender that likes to carry the ball forward and have a go from distance. Now, he's not had too many shots this season, so if you look at his bare stats, you probably would be a bit put off and go, why are you even talking about him? He had a shot and it was on target last weekend, and he's had 2 in the game against Arsenal, and that's all he's had this season so far. But as I mentioned, Southampton are woeful at defending set pieces. They've got Alex McCarthy in goal, who we call him a Dracula keeper, is absolutely petrified at crosses, and sets the fans off on that tangent as well, because we saw him against Liverpool. He was all over the place, flapping at crosses, coming out of his area and also giving the ball away, which Southampton have a tendency to do. So that'll be a problem. So Van Hecker for me will, look, if he gets a shot, he can go top corner or he can go top corner of the stand. We wouldn't mind. It's plus money. That's a big price for me. For him, at the other end, Harwood Bellis, who scored for England on his debut against Ireland, wasn't it? He's minus 103, and I think that's a big price. He's very consistent as far as he can't defend crosses, but he seems to be able to get on them at the other end. So that'd be the 2 plays that I'd focus on for props in this one. Van Hecker over 0.5 shots at plus 130, and Harwood Bellis over 0.5 shots at minus 103.
Yeah, heck of a bet, that one. Estepinian is an interesting player here. Let's say plus 380 to score or assist, and the fouls option is a very interesting one. He sounds like he could have quite an involvement today, both ends of the field. You're right, Dipping is definitely a player who. I'm just looking through the comments today here, and I'm a little bit surprised how there's quite a bit of love for Southampton. There often is a few regulars who like Southampton, but I've got a problem with them, and I've said it before. Bad things happen to bad teams, and they sometimes look nice and they play, and their metrics are obviously not too bad. And then bad things happen when you bet on bad teams. So I couldn't trust Southampton with any of my with a bet ever, really, because they just find ways to shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, the Liverpool game, Disc is absolutely right. I thought there were times in that game they played really well. They had a great tactical game plan, especially offensively. And then they just give the goals that they conceded were all self-inflicted. Yet again, the same hymn sheet every single week with Southampton. So, you could just see it, couldn't you? Tonight they come out and everyone's saying how unlucky they are again. And Brighton at the same time, I wouldn't want to back them at minus 275 because they're
mate, this is what Southampton do. I think I said exactly the same words on the show yesterday. They just find a way. They're the unlucky losers in the Premier League. They'll find a way to concede. They'll find a way to lose games. They'll throw things away. And they do play exactly the same way. They are the Burnley. We said it at the start of the season. It's not suddenly dawned on us, but they are the Burnley of last season. They do look nice, but by looking nice, they do give those chances. And Brighton are a side that will lay a few traps. They've got a lot of mobility and a lot of intensity in those forward areas, and they will look to pounce on the mistakes that guarantee Southampton will give the ball away 3 or 4 times in their own final third. And Brighton, can they capitalise on it? You mentioned it with Will Steele a little while ago that Brighton were the data darlings a couple of seasons ago, continually underperformed their metrics, looked great on paper, but underperformed. This season, they've flipped it around. They're actually taking a lot more chances than they should be. And Southampton have actually been getting away with the amount of chances they've been given away. So this one tonight could be, if that follows the trend, Southampton keep giving loads away and Brighton taking more than they are due to. This could be a bit messy, but still go back to the point, we wouldn't be taking Brighton at those odds. Although we think they probably win, it's not the value, it's not the bet to play at those odds. Definitely not.
75% of the money is on Brighton, though, with 93% of the tickets. That's on the money line. We've got 83% of the money on the over today, although only 55% of the tickets are on the over. So that suggests that quite a bit of sort of the smaller, perhaps recreational bets are more looking at the under, and maybe that's under 3.5, I think. That goal line does look high, actually, because Southampton are not always guaranteed to score goals. In my opinion, they massively underachieve in front of goal. The biggest prop bet is on João Pedro to score at plus 132. What are your thoughts on him? He's on the penalties, isn't he? So what do you think?
Yeah, he's come on, done well, hasn't he? He's had a few injuries in and out of the side, but yeah, he's one of those players that I think the FPL players, the fantasy players, will be getting on board with him because he's value in that particular game, isn't he? And he's I think he scored 4 in 6 or something like that. But yeah, he's a player again. I was going to say during that what I was then talking about is that you kind of like the Brighton forwards, but whichever one you kind of put a bit of faith in, it's normally one of the other ones that will do the damage. You've got Welbeck, you've got João Pedro, you've got Ruter, and you've got a few other players in and around the Matoma as well as a great player. He'll cause problems down that side as well. And so Stupinan will get involved. There's lots to like about what Brighton have got. It's whether they can stitch it all together tonight. But I've got a massive incentive tonight. They win tonight, they go second in the table. So,
that's
and put
ridiculous,
a lot of,
isn't it?
Yeah, and I put 6 points.
Brighton.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I put 6 points between them and 6th.
There was a question from Rick about not a question, but he just said, when are the talking heads in England going to stop talking about the manager's age? And maybe they've flipped these metrics around, possibly because of the manager, possibly because of recruitment. He is 31. He was 31 when he took over. Maybe he's 32 now. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I did have my doubts, but part of me.
He's done superbly well, hasn't he?
Yeah,
because he was from San Pauli, wasn't he? That's where he came from.
Yeah, that's really logically down the years bringing in a manager from there at that age that shouldn't work. Really, it's just too young. But this is Brighton we're talking about. That they are so well run. Like, I don't think you can ever question a Brighton decision in terms of transfers, managers, whatever. Nothing hardly ever. They never let slip with anything like that very often.
Apart from letting Victor Gokres go on a little bit of the cheap side, then
that's the only one. That's the only one, I think, isn't it?
But no, generally speaking, they run the data models, don't they? They've got an absolute template for everything they look to do, and they generally land it. And fair play to them. So this is the best ever start by Brighton in the top flight. So they kind of keep raising the bar, don't they? They like Potter was there, and then De Zerbi came in, and it was like incredible. And they thought, oh no, now he's gone, that's going to like fall apart. And again, they keep raising it. Fair play to him.
Yeah, fair play to them. Just one other question I've got for you there, Jack, on this game is: what did you think about the handicap -1.5 or +1.5?
If pushed, I'd probably have to go +1.5 Southampton. Given the odds, obviously everything then follows through with it. So yeah. Again, I can't be backing anything as far as Brighton are concerned on those lines. Really, to be fair, look, they could go and destroy Southampton because Southampton have got it in them to do that. But if pushed, I'd leave it. But if pushed, I'd have to go with a +1.5 goal handicap for Southampton. They tend to stay in games. They don't tend to get battered, and as I say, they should have a chance.
Right, we're moving on to the Championship in England now. Sheffield United against Sunderland, and this is actually where my best bet of the day comes. I'm going to let you. I'm not going to want to steal your thunder if you put it in there first. I've got a feeling Nigel put a comment as well in the chat about this game. Sheffield United are the favourites, -113. Sunderland +270. The tie is at +220. Over 2.5 goals at +135. Under 2.5 at -167. I've got a feeling we're going to be in agreement here, Jack. So somehow take us through this one, because this might not be the most entertaining of spectacles.
Yeah, I fancy 3-3 in this one. It should be an end-to-end classic. No, I don't. Before anyone quickly races to put their money on that, no, we are all agreeing. I think that this should be a very tight, very cagey, low-scoring affair. Two sides that have got exceptional defences, and under 2.5 goals is simply the play in this one. I've gone on under 2 Asian total for this because I just wanted a bit. I feel confident enough that there'll be 0 or 1 goals in it, no more than 2. So if it's 2, I'd get a push. But I'd like to take on this 0 or 1 goals in the game. So under 2 is +117, which I think is a really nice price when you consider that these two sides have kept 21 clean sheets between them over the course of the campaign so far, which is incredible. Sheffield United conceded on 2 goals on the opening home game of the season and have not conceded a goal since. 6 straight clean sheets. 6 of their 8 have gone under 2.5 goals. And Sunderland, under Regis Labrise, has done superb. Hasn't he?
Regis Labrise has done very, very well. at Sunderland. That's for sure. I don't know if I've actually gone here or if Jack's gone. There might be a connection problem. But yeah, what Jack was saying there was very correct in terms of the lack of goals. Jack, are you there? Did you lose me?
I lost you. I heard you.
Yes, I'm not sure what happened there anyway, but I think we're back now. I'm just sort of getting on this under trend. My bet is under 2.25 goals at -127. You're going under 2. Nigel's got the nil-nil detector out. I mean, it's one of those. It's one of them unders which I look at it. Is it almost too obvious? But sometimes in soccer, in betting, don't overcomplicate anything. And just go with the bet, because I'll tell you what, Sheffield United, I think they're a horrible team to watch. They've got a manager who plays that style. Chris Wilder wasn't happy last week, of course, that Coventry City actually tried against him. He saw that, but Sunderland certainly will be giving it everything. They've drawn about the last 5 consecutive straight. That's why Ian Messina said a draw there. And
3 nil-nils in that sequence as well.
This could be 0-0. Sunderland are in that phase. I know a few Sunderland fans. They're very frustrated. They can't finish their chances, Jack, at the minute. And I think that can happen when they're. I think we'd both be surprised if Sunderland were certainly in the automatic spots by the end of the year. They've done very well, but they're not what you call top 2 or even top 3 or 4 really in underlying metrics.
No,
so
I think I have them just fill in the playoff places. I think they've overachieved. So Regis Labrisa's come in and done superb work in there, and it's a little bit unsustainable how they're going about stuff. They've had injuries as well, and they've not got the biggest squad to cope with that. A lot of young players in there too. Massive time of the year coming up now, of course, where we go crazy with games back to back to back. So it'll be tough on them to do that. But I've got that little feeling with Sunderland at the moment. They're one of those sides that sometimes when a side goes on like an unbeaten run, it becomes more important for them not to lose than actually to go and win. And like you said there, they've not been finishing their chances, but ultimately they're sort of keeping this unbeaten run going. But as I said, they've picked up 5 points in the last 5 games, where a side, of course, would have won 2 and lost 3 in that period of time and gained a point on them. So, yeah, I think they're in that little bit of a situation, and it's a really, really tough fixture for them tonight at Bramall Lane. Big atmosphere, big crowd. Chris Wilder is a master of
I think he'll be up to his games here and his antics. I think this game could kick off into something a bit. I'm not saying there'll be a red card or anything, but he has this thing, Chris Wilder, where a bit macho. He likes to get one over the foreign managers quite a lot, and Regis Labrie has been getting a lot of praise, as you said, and I think rightly so. And Chris Wilder won't like that, He doesn't like that sort of thing.
It'll prickle him, won't it? It'll prickle him.
Yeah, he will. He want to prove a point here, and so it could get a bit feisty.
I remember when your manager now, but when Daniel Farker was in charge of Norwich, they went there, and Chris Wilder went on a right tirade because we'd beat him. And he'd gone on a right tirade, and he even blamed the bus driver because they were late turning up. Not late for the game, but like just later than they should have been. And he had to go at him for that. And it was comical to watch. You could see him getting redder and redder in the face, but having an absolute.
Didn't he blame the sandwiches or something at one point? What was the sandwich thing about? I can't even remember what, but
he's blamed everything. But I looked at this as cards a few days ago. Gavin Ward's the referee. Quite a low one on the cards front, but sometimes it gets taken out of the referee's hands if it gets a little bit feisty. And Sunderland and Sheffield United do have a fair amount of card history in the league this season, so it could well flare up and kick off. I wish there was a better referee in charge, but it could still happen.
Ogie said, any shot on target tips that you might look at today? Is there anyone? We obviously not in this game. Probably we don't want shots on target, but I don't know. Maybe the Brighton game or something. If there was anyone on your shortlist.
No, those are the 2 I mentioned. Van Hecker and Harwood Bellis were the 2 just for shots, not on target. We don't need them to be on target. So I think all the attacking players are kind of covered with the odds on that one, but those 2 stand out like a sore thumb because I say Harwood Bellis has been prolific. And Van Hecker will have a chance against the Southampton defence that cannot cope with crosses and corners and set pieces into the box.
There's an FA Cup match on, not far from From where I live, Harrogate Town against Gainsborough Trinity. Last time Harrogate Town were talked about on the show, Simon Holden had a big price winner on their match. You got a bet for this game. This is Harrogate Town against Gainsborough Trinity in the FA Cup. Harrogate Town short price favourites minus 286. Gainsborough plus 800. I think is it 2-3 divisions between the two teams or something like that. Anyway, you're not getting involved in money lines and handicaps, but you are looking at the goals, and you're going above the traditional goal line here. Over 2.5 at minus 130. You're looking the rung above that here.
Yeah, I'm going in hard on this one at over 3.5 goals plus 205. I think that's a big price in a game that, as I say, there is a fair distance between these two sides as far as the league pyramid is concerned. For viewers that aren't, or listeners that aren't sure on the FA Cup at this stage, we're in round 2. None of the big clubs are involved yet. So the Premier League, the Championship will all get involved in round 3. So in essence, this is the big round, isn't it, for the minnows, like even Harrogate, who are a league side, but they're down the bottom of League 2. And Gainsborough are complete non-league. So this would be a massive, if they could get a win here, they could potentially go and draw a Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, anyone like that in the next round. So it's huge for them. So it does open things up. They've been pretty poor in their league. I'm not an expert on Gainsborough. You might be surprised to hear, but I had a little dig around because this was like the only FA Cup tie tonight. So it's a massive opportunity for both these sides to progress through and get in the hat for the next round. And there's been a lot of goals in recent games. Let's say Gainsborough struggle in the league, but they've had a few cup competitions where they've really kicked on, done well. The FA Cup round 1, which got them through here, ended 3-3, and they got through on penalties. So that was a first starting point on that. But when you look across their last few games, they've won 3-0 and 2-0, the 3-3 draw, and they've won 4-1 and 4-0. So they've got lots of goals in them. And I think they'll go to Harrogate with the confidence that they can score goals and look to outscore them. And I've even heard their striker has been talking up that he's going to go and score more goals and like, get on it. It's a big night out for them. Harrogate, 3 2-1s in their last few games and a 2-2. So all their last 4 have gone over 2.5. And I'm taking it to go a little bit further because Harrogate could, we would wait for Simon Holden to come on here and be the expert in Harrogate, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to stand in for him. But I think there could be a lot of goals in the game, so over 3.5 at plus 205. I want to take that rather than going for the lower lines here.
Yeah, potentially a very big prize for both teams. Get in the hat for the third round. You could be drawn away at Anfield, the Emirates, the Etihad, whatever, and you could get a massive payday. Yeah, massive payday. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Leeds versus Harrogate in the FA Cup third round. FGA Football says Harmer for Sheffield United. It's not Sheffield, it's Sheffield United. They get very, very touchy if you just say Sheffield. Sheffield. Trust me, they do. 41 shots, 4 goals, 4 assists. Good stats for his position. That's because he's one of the best players in the league. Ultimately, that he is the. I mean, I was surprised they actually kept him, to be honest, although he had only just joined, in fairness. But
Mate, when he came out, I remember when he came over and my eyes lit up when I saw him start, and I looked at his record. He'd come over from Holland, hadn't he? And he was like superb. He loved shots from outside the box. He could smash in, say, 2 or 3 shots a game. Normally one of those on target. He's great for a yellow card as well. He takes their free kicks. He's all over that. So yeah, he's a player that is really involved. I think he's playing slightly in not his best position for Sheffield United this season. To accommodate what else is there. But they brought Callum O'Hare in, who's a great player in that kind of 10 role. Tyrese Campbell, who's had a terrible last couple of seasons, has started scoring goals for fun for them. So he'd be one that if there is a goal tonight, which there might be one enough to decide it, he'd be the one that is likely favourite to score it. But Hamer, one of my favourite players in the Championship, certainly.
Mallorca against Valencia is the Laliga game from Spain at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Mallorca are on the drift here a bit, plus 110 for them. The tie is now plus 180. That's a really, really short odds for the tie. You don't get that too often. Valencia plus 350. And the main reason that the tie is such a short price here is because the Asian goal line is as low, a genuine 1.75 goal line, match goal line here we're talking. not first half, not team totals. Over 1.75 goals is at -110. Under 1.75 goals is at -110. So if you bet the under here, you will lose something unless 0 or 1 goals are scored. But the line is low for a good reason. The matches here at the Son Mosh Stadium have been very, very low scoring indeed. Mallorca have just, in 7 games, they've scored 4 but only conceded 4. Both teams are kind of known for unders, but the last game they were both involved in exploded. Valencia had a 4-2 win against Real Betis, quite an emotional win. First match at home since the flooding there in Valencia. Maybe that inspired them forwards. Mallorca had the island derby against Las Palmas, Gran Canaria against Mallorca, and they won that 3-2. And I had that down as a 0-0, to be honest. I thought it was 0-0 at half time, and the second half exploded. I've seen a lot of different opinions about this. There was a couple of comments earlier as well. Are we going to revert back to sort of Mallorca 1-0 0-0s, or are we going to get a match which continues on from the last games, do you think, Jack? This is an intriguing game.
It is, yeah. My last attempt at calling a La Liga game on the live show was woeful, and Las Palmas done me that night, didn't they? But I've been looking at this one, and whilst I was looking through it, one of the stats that came up was that Mallorca have lost when they've been favourites in a home match. They've only lost 3 of the last 18 when they say a favourite. So that would suggest that they've got a great chance here. Would you be putting a lot of faith in them? I don't know. I think that, they've obviously had quite a solid season, haven't they? Again, looking at a lean, when I've not got a massively strong opinion on it, I've looked for something a little bit juicier as far as the odds are concerned. Swimming against the tide, looking at the odds there. Can we take it on? Do you fancy Mallorca to win it? Possibly so. Over 1.5 Mallorca goals is plus 155. So again, that would be, if I was going to have a really finger in the air lean on this one, this is not in any way, shape or form strong opinion from me. I like a lot of the other bets that I'll put forward. So this one would just be because you've asked me. What do you think?
Do you know what? I think this goal line is too low. I'm not saying I'm betting on the over, but Valencia have only kept 2 clean sheets all season. And one of those was against Leganes, who are newly promoted and don't offer much. So, and Mallorca, I think if you watch Mallorca, I've seen them a few times, you don't get the air of a boring side when you watch them. That they do try and play some decent soccer. Some teams are like that, and they just don't score goals or don't maybe create the big chances that they should do. If this ended 0-0, we're not shocked. But at the same time, I think if it ended 2-1 to someone, I don't think it would be the biggest shock in the world either. This is a really, there was, I think, at the start of the stream, someone put 0-0 half time, and that is actually at plus 115. Under half a goal in the first half is plus 115. Just for a first half goal to be scored, it's minus 143. You don't get big odds like that very often, just for one first half goal. So if a gun was too much, if I had to be forced to take a bet here on the over or under, I would go the over just by default, really. Yeah. More than anything. Because
from what I've seen of Valencia this season, they've been so poor that you'd want to take them on. And with a side that's sitting 8th in the table, you think, well, they've not been setting the world alight themselves. But again, they'll see this as a great opportunity to go and, close the gap on those top 6 spaces. That's a massive opportunity for a club like Mallorca to go and do that. So, yeah, as I said, I think goals if you push, because I don't think the defence of Valencia is strong enough to keep this super tight. We've seen that over the season so far. Therefore, I'll take a chance on the home side, being able to get a couple on the board at plus 155. And yeah, you're kind of similar opinion there as a match total.
One thing I will say, if you are watching this game live, if you're following the stats, if you're watching it, you can watch it on the BetRivers app, this game, along with several of the matches we've discussed today. If it is opening up and you feel like, wow, there might be some goals coming here soon, then you're going to get a huge value, because the in-running odds will be dictated by the pre-match odds, unless there's like red cards and things like that. So you could really cash in if we end up with an open game and you sort of recognize it. It's definitely one with a lot of potential. I kind of quite like the draw here, but at plus 180, I'm very happy to leave that alone. That is just a really short price for a draw. Another match, just to finish the show, that I like the draw with, is in Italy here. Cagliari against Hellas Verona. Cagliari, I don't think anyone's ever advised a winning tip on a Cagliari game on because we win. Well, not that often anyway, Jack. They've been the scourge of us. I mean, the way I think it's a battle between two poor teams. They're actually not in the relegation zone. It's 16th against 14th, but neither team impressed me much. Verona have lost a lot of games. Cagliari have had 3-3 and 2-2 draws recently. On the face of it, there could be some goals, but these are not two teams I really want to get involved with. So I was looking at the tie. Latest odds on the tie here are plus 245, which I think is not too bad because I personally think Cagliari are. They shouldn't be minus money favourites. They're a bit overrated here with the books. They do have an advantage being on an island at home a bit, and Verona are not very good. But I think this could be a draw. And whether it's a 0-0 draw or a 3-3 draw, I think it's worth a little bit of pizza money. That would be best. So if I had to have a mini dog of the day, that would be it.
Okay.
Anything? You're not a Serie A man, are you, Jack? You're going to follow me in on that. I thought you wouldn't have too much on that.
Nothing much to add there. Under 2.5 goals to me.
Under 2.5. Interesting one. Name of the teams influencing the line too much. Mallorca, much better team this year and a big home advantage. He likes Mallorca. If you like Mallorca, you could definitely look at win to nil as well, I think, because that would be potentially likely. What's your best bet of the day before we go?
Do you know what? I'll go with a prop. Why not? Because it's the first one that comes into my head. Paul Van Hecker to have a shot at plus money.
Paul Van Hecker to have a shot. My best bet of the day is Sheffield United against Sunderland under 2.25 goals. Very obvious pick, but I think it will cash. But best of luck to everyone, whatever they are taking. Just before we go, I do got to remind you about the newsletter, which is going to have a special feature coming out starting next week. It's going to be based on Challenger Tour tennis. Do subscribe to it. There's a massively long document guide into Challenger tennis, and it's very, very much worth subscribing for. There's even an extra bonus at the end, which you might have use of in the kitchen. That's all I'm going to say about that one. Are
we doing that?
I really have intrigued everyone here, haven't I, with that? But if you've not, I did have a couple of comments to me on X about got the first two newsletters, not received the rest. Check your junk email file and the things like that. If not, then just subscribe with another email account if you've got one. So that's the way I would do it.
Get the numbers up.
Yeah. But Jack, it's been a pleasure as always. And what have we got to do? We've got to watch the Premier League show as well if you've not already. The Betting Weekly Extra Time European show is now live. It came out a couple of hours ago on the show. Paul, great to have you all. Duncan, anyone who joined live or on demand, have a fantastic weekend. And we're back next week on Betting Weekly Live with a full set of 5 days as per usual. But apart from that, that's it. Goodbye and take care.
I'll look forward to seeing you this time next week.
This time next week, yeah. We may well be together. Who knows, Jack? But
I think we will be.
See you next time, everyone, and have a great
Cyril,
weekend.
have a great weekend.